All right. Well, we're here at the Heritage Cultural Center today with Larry Stein, who's running for mayor of Oxnard. And as we were setting up, doing a little housekeeping this morning, Larry stopped by and has a couple of words he wants to speak to the community. So he said, let's go on into the studio and hear what you have to say on a couple of very hot topics in the community these days, which are housing and housing for veterans, and also things that involve veterans that are homeless. So, Larry, we got a chance to chat a moment ago about those two issues, and so we want to recap for the audience here what your thoughts are on those two topics.
The issue of housing is a very interesting issue because currently the way the city's been doing things, housing has not been covering infrastructure costs, particularly to schools. When you build a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom home, it's more expensive. And these bedrooms are usually filled with children that end up going to school. It is my estimate that a 2,500 4-bedroom homes impacts the school district to the tune of $210 million, where developers only pay $30 to $40 million of that. We start downsizing and start building 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom homes. That provides a solution to numerous needs. One solution that provides are many people who are getting up in years, such as yours truly here, who may want to downscale from a 5-bedroom home to something smaller. By building 1 2-bedroom homes, it becomes more economically viable for people living on fixed incomes to live in, at the same time maintaining their desires to maintain an independent lifestyle. Likewise, when you have young people growing up who are ready to move out of the nest, so to speak, and they want their own place, they don't need a 5-bedroom home. By having a 1 or 2-bedroom townhome available at 900, 1,200 square feet, it becomes more affordable. And that addresses another issue, affordable housing. Affordable housing does not have to be a housing built with less amenities. Affordable housing is housing that somebody can afford to live in and should be the same amenities that's available to anybody else. By focusing on building 1 and 2-bedroom homes and townhomes, this will allow young people and people without families to move in and expand at some time down the line, 3 to 5 years. A couple or a single person moving into a 2-bedroom house has sufficient room. If that person decides to get married, there's still sufficient room for 2 people. If you have 2 bedrooms and a den, that den could perhaps be converted to a nursery, and then later that a nursery could be used, the person living in that nursery could be transferred to the other living bedroom, still setting up a nursery for the expanded family. And at that point in time, the family would have an option to move out. In the course of 3 to 5 years, it is expected the equity would develop in the 1 and 2-bedroom units, and they could use that equity as a down payment on a larger unit. So if the city starts focusing on building 1 and 2-bedroom housing and encouraging developers to build 1 and 2-bedroom housing, then the impact on schools will be diminished and help resolve the issue of having housing that's affordable to people who don't make $100,000 a year, but people who are making $15 an hour could afford that. If you have 2 people making $15,000 a year, that's $60,000 a year income. That's sufficient income to qualify for housing that is the $200,000, $300,000 range. So housing is available if the city plans for it. Our current candidates for mayor have been in the city council seat for over 6 years, and they have not addressed this issue adequately. They've seemed to be approving EIRs that don't approve affordable housing to the extent that it should be. So I'd like your vote for Mayor of Oxnard. I think I can provide solutions both to the homeless issue by having more affordable housing. The people who are living and working at low-income housing might have the opportunity to move out to their own independent facility, and that's one possible solution. Now, earlier you talked about housing needs for the veterans. Again, the same solution could be available for those veterans who want to maintain an independent lifestyle without having the expenses of a large facility. Another veterans issue you talked about is how the veterans facility, or would you call it a recreational facility?
Yeah.
How do you describe that hall?
Well, it is a recreational facility, but the various venues that they have to congregate have slowly been eliminated in the city of Oxnard for whatever reason, development, redevelopment, or as things have transpired over a period of time because we redeveloped Wagon Wheel. That was the last place that was a hall of any sort where the veterans could congregate. And I know that they've been talking to some of the clubs, the fraternal clubs, whether it be the Elks or the Eagles and even the Knights of Columbus, but they don't have a sense that they have a space that they could congregate at, even if it was something that could be set up to we could rehabilitate something in one of the areas that were slated for redevelopment, just some place that they could all get together and have a sense that those that have the history of being a veteran and have served our country would have a place they could congregate with others with like interests.
We have a number of organizations within the community. The Monday Club, I don't remember that in Gonzales.
Mm-hmm. I remember the Monday Club.
Was scheduled to be torn down and have a Whole Foods facility in there, I believe. It might have been Fresh and Easy, I think, was scheduled to go in there. Fresh and Easy is downsized. We have the Knights that you refer to. We have the Elks. We have the Moose. We have the Eagles. All have facilities with liquor licenses. And knowing the vets as well as I know them, they enjoy their beer, and some of them enjoy something a little bit stronger. And they like a venue where they can go to where they can have a beer and wine license, an alcohol license. They can congregate and share their stories and share camaraderie. It's not so much the war stories as much the camaraderie that many of them miss. They like bonding with people of similar interests, and they miss that. They feel out of place if they go to a place that they don't own. And the fact that they did not own the VH Hall, but it was owned by somebody else, and they allowed that hall to be built, but they didn't have any equity in that facility. I think that's something that's missing, is the resource to help the veterans to develop an equity position in a new facility. And they could buy out perhaps a Monday Club and meet there. But I think part of the issue is the veterans themselves need to pool the resources together, ask for private funding to help build a facility of their own. And there's still locations available. We have a number of facilities that are vacant all over Oxnard that could help provide the facility that they're looking for. But they need to take up the action. They're proud. They're not going to ask for public handouts, but they'll look for public support. And there's a big difference between a handout and support. Many of them are on fixed incomes. Many of them are disabled. Their opportunities to earn more money have diminished. But they can still ask for support from other veterans in the community to help develop and find a facility they can then buy and own and not have the opportunity of losing a facility again.
I think it's a great idea. It really is. I hear that need come up on a regular basis here locally. And so anything that could be done to develop that, or those that might be interested in speaking with you on that issue and give you some ideas as we march through the campaign towards the election, it would be a welcome conversation, I believe, for all of us.
Well, it's not necessarily a campaign issue. I mean, we talk about campaign issues, and what a campaign issue really is a social issue that's been long simmering but never been brought to light. And you get somebody from the outside to bring up these issues and raise it. Now, I want to win. I hope to win. But should I not win, my ideas are still being expressed and heard, and perhaps they should be taken upon. A politician, in my opinion, is somebody who has personal agendas, who wants to make it public policy. Whether I present that public policy in an open forum as an elected representative or as a private citizen, as I've done so many times in the past, I'll still be continuing raising issues that need to be discussed, whether it's on the campaign trail or in front of the City Council or the Planning Commission.
Well, you're exactly right. It's the campaign that brings some of these issues to daylight, and they tend to linger long after the election. But in the community, they just simmer for a long time, and it just seems that an election brings them out. It gives them some steam. It gives them some power. All of a sudden, our elected officials go, oh, this is important to the community.
I want to comment on that. One of the issues that faces the Latino community is open access and communication. For years and years, the City Council meetings were broadcast in English only. It's through the efforts of Carmen Ramirez and Bert Perel in particular who were able to get an item that was sitting on IMCF for a number of years brought before City Council, and that was bilingual simulcast. That's a great step that helps the Latino community because at least they have an opportunity to communicate and listen to the City Council in a language other than English. And this encourages participation. The Latino community needs to participate more if they want their voices heard. We have thousands of Latinos who are afraid to come to City Council meetings because they're afraid and embarrassed by the fact they can only speak one language. We have interpreters. The City Council has made efforts to have interpreters to go before City Council meetings and talk about their issues in Spanish and have it translated. But why does it stop at the City Council meetings? We have numerous CAGs, community action groups, that are conducted in English only. How come these aren't simulcast in Spanish? For the Planning Commission meeting, why come that isn't simulcast in Spanish? How come many public documents, such as CAFRs, aren't published in Spanish? Again, this community is 60% Latino, of which a vast majority only speak one language. How come the community isn't being reached out to? Why isn't the City Council and city staff being proactive? We've had Latino communities sitting as the city manager. We have Latino leaders sitting on the City Council in the past. Why didn't it take the effort to make an effort to reach out to the community more? It's very important for the community to engage at large as a whole community and not just as a separate aspect of the community. People need resources. People need to have access to everything, and not just people who only speak one language, and that language is English. We need to be more proactive and less reactive. Let's make facilities available to everybody, whether they're citizens or not. They still are residents of Oxnard, are entitled to the same services as citizens of the United States. Just because you're not a citizen of the United States does not mean you're not entitled to services as a resident of Oxnard. And that seems to be lost in focus numerous times, too many times by this community.
Well, there's a number of individuals that are citizens of the United States, and still their predominant language is Spanish. They learned enough English to survive in the workplace. They learned enough English proficiency in order to get their naturalization, but their language of choice still tends to be Spanish. To that note, how many of the CAGs or committees or commissions are broadcast, are filmed?
Most of them are broadcast, but not broadcast in Spanish.
Okay, so most of them, but not all of them.
I believe all of them are, but I don't see all the CAGs.
Okay.
I work long hours as an accountant for two companies, one in Van Nuys and one in Santa Barbara. I don't have time to watch all the CAGs. And that's another issue that I have pertains to the City Council's response to CAGs. Why aren't the agendas including reports from our CAGs? We have numerous CAGs out here with tremendous input by our citizens who tackle the issues at large. A case in point is Eileen Tracy. She hammered on HUD issues for years. HUD looked at these issues for years and issued a scathing report of past practices that have been ignored and violations of HUD policy. It's citizens, private citizens like Eileen Tracy, who bring these issues to light. We have other private citizens throughout numerous CAGs who bring issues up. The Community Relations Committee recently had discussions on whether there should be a police oversight board. And earlier this year, the discussions got very, very heated. We need heated discussion. We need to have these issues brought forth, and these discussions need to be available to all, not just people who only speak English.
Well, very good. I know I promised to keep it short. Thank you so much for stopping by the studio. You're welcome to stop by any time. I know you got a couple of appointments after this, so thank you for bearing with us and touring the studio. As you can see, we're still in construction, so our home is your home, Larry, anytime.
Mi casa, su casa.
Exactamente. Thank you.
Gracias. Buenas tardes. Buenos días.